Let me go quickly over the barn rules. And before I do that, let me say this. Early in the week, you're going to be receiving an email. I send out an email weekly. It usually comes out on Mondays. And it's just a form of communication. But in this next one on Monday, we are also going to be attaching a volunteer handbook. And in that handbook, you're going to be receiving everything that we're going over in orientation. So it will be a reference for you. We're not going to necessarily have printed copies laying around because it's multi-pages, but you will be able to save it and keep it, after it's emailed to you. So know that that is coming. So what I'm reading off to you, don't worry about not having a copy. You're going to get it in email. Okay, so let me quickly go over our barn rules. There are designated areas like the feed room, usually the medical room, different parts of the barns that volunteers really don't have a need to be in. And so we stay in designated areas. It's for our safety and for that of our riders. Smoking, alcohol, tobacco, and profanity are not allowed at Savannah Station. Family and friends are not allowed in the arena unless they are trained volunteers. Okay? No one goes into stalls, pens, or paddocks without permission. Only trained volunteers may catch and lead Savannah Station horses. No treats are fed to our horses except under the supervision of an instructor. No running, no shouting in the barn or around our horses. Horses are flight animals, and so we want to be respectful of them and not put anyone in an unsafe situation. Children who are not in classes must be supervised and not be left unattended. Family and friends are asked not to coach riders from the sidelines. That's what we have instructors for. Do not open or close any of the large doors. We have several of them in the arena. Don't open or close any of them when the horses are in the arena without first announcing what you're getting ready to do. We want to make sure that we don't spook a horse. No climbing on our gates. We need to keep the dirt on the ground. No picking up, throwing, or anything else with the dirt. The kids love to come in here and pick up the dirt. We also have some barn cats around, Penny and Luna. Don't pick them up, they scratch. And no dogs allowed here at Savannah Station. Okay, so now I'm going to talk just a few moments about our facility rules. And these deal more with the actual class going on. You'll see them in action here in just a little bit. But volunteers are asked to be present at least 15 minutes ahead of the class. Okay? Walk at all times when on the center grounds and in the arena. Please use inside voices. Practice appropriate technique when passing behind a horse. Approach a horse from the front side where you can see the horse's eye and the horse has a view of you. Photos may only be taken by permission of the riding instructor, and that's for safety reasons. Some of our riders have no photo requirements, and that's for their safety. All riders must wear helmets while in the arena and or around horses. All riders will be escorted into the riding arena by the riding instructor or a designated volunteer. All riders will be escorted by the riding instructor up the ramp. Riding instructor will supervise mounting and dismounting procedures verbally or personally. Only personnel designated by the riding instructor will be allowed in the riding or working areas. We need to be sure that we're not handling a bunch of paperwork, things that make a lot of noise simply for the safety of our riders and because we're working with horses. We don't want to scare them. And if an accident, such as a fall or a seizure, occurs, it's very infrequent, but they do happen, and our class is going on, so we have riders who are mounted. In that instance, all riding stops. Everything stops until further notice by the instructor. The instructor is the only one in charge of the riding lesson. Okay? No one, including parents, are permitted into the riding or working areas in the event of an accident unless they are requested by the instructor. If circumstances call for the center to be evacuated, and let me just say this about evacuations, if we have to have an evacuation, and we know bad weather's in the forecast, we're probably just going to cancel class before that ever happens. But if something freaky comes up in the middle of a class, then we take the riders down. They're dismounted first, and you'll go to one of our safe areas, which is our medical room, our feed room, or our wash stall, and then the horses will be put into stalls. Okay, so that's what would happen in that instance. We need to remember that horses are sensitive creatures. They react and they move quickly when they are frightened. So always be aware when you're around a horse and be ready to move out of their way. And no treats are given to our horses without the approval of the instructor. And again, we make sure that you know there is no smoking on our property. Okay, so those are our facility procedures. Let me say just a word about emergency preparedness. Emergency preparedness, I just want you to know, and this is going to be in your handbook, but I want you to know where our fire extinguishers are. There is one here in the arena. It's right over there on the wall behind us. There is one in the main barn, between the main barn and where the round pen is. There is one in the office, and there is one in the back barn. So in addition to our safe areas where our feed room, our medical room, and our wash stall is, where we would go if we had like a tornado or something. So those are our emergency procedures that we're going to talk about today.